Sorry about that. I forgot to plug in my audio interface. But we are back. Hopefully you can hear that. Yeah, sweet. Quick overview of what I am setting up here today. I rerouted my mixer with my Octatrack because this guy Mirko commented on one of my YouTube channels, and they basically said that I could use the reverb pedal as a send, and I hadn't really tried that for a while, so I rerouted everything, and now we are going to practice that and test that out. I'm also going to set up the Octatrack with a, you'll notice track 8 is set to Q, and it's muted, and I'm going to use that as a looper to loop a section of the beat, and then that'll give me a chance to cue up the next section and crossfade into it. This is essentially the crossfade trick that people talk about with regards to the Octatrack, except we also have faders, which is amazing. So we'll see how it goes. I'm planning on making things a little more peaceful today than I have in the last couple sessions. We're gonna practice this sampling thing. Oop. Shit. So right now what's going on is my channel B has a sample of the last 4 bars, and it's just kind of looping that in the background. Meanwhile, I can play with the master in channel A. Maybe I can bring in the kick at this point. Is my video having some issues? I shall investigate. Give me a sec. Just trying to jam and fix my stream at the same time. Hello. I think I fixed it. Can everybody see? Thanks for pointing that out. I just muted it. Thank you, Robbie, for helping me troubleshoot that. weird filter stuff that I was not aware was going on. Immediately when I have no reverb, I miss it. Thank you for saying so. Whew, still getting used to this whole sampling thing. Welcome, Brian. Thanks for joining. I'm gonna just start afresh. Sorry for the jarring stop. I have shelved the Minotaur for today. But thanks for asking. I've been thinking about it. Hello, Def. Good to see you. Thank you, Diff. A world I want to live and grow food in. That's great. Maybe a video game world. This synth sound is called Mario on PCP. Oh shit. I can't get over how this is slightly out of tune. Hold on. Fuck. glad you guys are enjoying this. Frantically trying to get into the next section here.
Thank you.
Things that you shouldn't do during a set. Try to make an ARP while you're performing. I think that's, yep. Whoops. So all the drums are just samples. This is just like a... Just some samples I got from Sample Magic, which you should definitely check out because they're going out of business or something and they're selling everything at a discount. These are called White Label Old School Rave Drum Loops. Yeah, they're awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and take a pause here. I've noticed that, sorry, I should learn to end the set in like a normal way and not just by stopping it abruptly. That shows you that I've never actually, well, I have performed stuff like this before, but I'm not used to performing from inside my house. So in any case, I wanted to give the last kind of 15 minutes or so to just ramble on about some of the ideas behind this set and just kind of debrief a little bit because the last few times I streamed I realized I wasn't really having a lot of time to process what was going on, and then next thing I knew was the 2 days later and I'm just opening the project for the first time since 2 days ago. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I had a lot of fun. I started out with this like weird ambient thing, and then I got bored, and then I started making this really cool stuff. So if you do scrub through the recording of this set, you'll hear maybe, like, there were some technical difficulties at the beginning, but maybe you'll hear me say something like, I've been meaning to do some ambient stuff. So I go into that, and then over time I realize that I'm kind of like trapped in this slow tempo, trying to figure out what to do. And then eventually it just turned into, like, we're at 138. We were at 88 at the beginning. So I definitely had a lot more fun at the end. I thought I was bored of having fun, but I guess not. To do a quick recap of how my set is set up today, it's a little different. This guy, Mirko, commented on one of my videos and asked me if I had ever used the Empress reverb as a send. And I told him that I preferred using it for a reverb pedal for the OP1. And so today I kind of played with having it be going through the mixer as a send. So you can hear it kind of like. So I didn't actually end up doing that a ton, unfortunately. And that's something that I kind of learned from this project today was I think what happened was I ended up missing it as a reverb pedal more often than I got excited about using it for the full tracks. Another thing I tried today, which you probably didn't notice because I didn't do it at all, was I had this set up so that the Octatrack's Q out was going to the right channel and the master was going to the left. And the way I had it set up here is track 8 is a flex machine that I can use to sample the master. So in theory, this would have been really cool for me to say, I'll just demonstrate real quick. Basically, so I have this track right here, and actually I will show you. It's recording source 3 main. Everything else is fairly standard. And basically that lets me record a sample of like a 2-bar loop in track 8. So I'll do that real quick. I could even do 1 bar. So now that's playing in the background. So now this is playing directly from track 8. So I could actually, mute a bunch of stuff. So it kind of gives me a sort of a save point, so to speak. I didn't end up doing that like at all practically during this set. But then again, I do think that part of that is just because I had set everything up new and I wasn't used to using that. But I am excited about the possibility of using the mixer as an instrument, the same way that I've been trying to use the Octatrack as an instrument. It's just, it ends up being a little bit like 4D chess when you're working on this extremely complex machine and you're also thinking about filters and sends. It turns into a thing where it's like, I only have 2 hands and and I can't really, I have faders here, keyboard here, and you'll notice if you watch back some of the stuff during the set, it's like half of my chord progression is in the crossfader. Then I forget, I'm supposed to bring down the kick. I'm still playing a loop here. I realized that I have something in my head that I'm trying to play and I don't have enough arms for it. So one of the things that I noticed about this set today was I need to figure out a way to shorten the amount of things that are on my mind at the same time. For example, I used pickup machines today. I started out with 2 pickup machines, and the way that they interact with each other just became so confusing that halfway through the set I switched this into a flex machine so that I could focus on looping things on here. I did enjoy having a looper, but I also noticed it threw a wrench into my expectations a lot. Like it was doing unexpected things. If I had this pitched down, it won't let you overdub because it can't play back and record a different version. Like if you have pitch adjusted at all or any of the LFOs that are adjusting like the sampling pattern or whatever, it tells you that it didn't overdub properly. And then that kind of throws another hesitation in the set where you're like, oh shit, and you have to troubleshoot. So I noticed more often than not using a single track to record something was like the way to go. It was really effective. I felt way better about the beats than I have in the past. I feel like earlier this week I was just kind of like going through different samples and not sure, what was going to work. Today was a little bit better in that regard. What else? I liked having a bass synth sample here. So track 1, I was using this, using basically just like a straight, hold on, where is it? Yeah. Just a sub. And I was tuning it to match the chords that I was playing. And I had to do that on the fly. Another thing that I noticed today is I was a bit more indulgent about having an idea and trying to execute it, which it's tricky to want to do that during, I feel like that can get me into trouble easily during a live set, because a lot of the time I'm like, oh, I have this synth that I want to tune into a particular rhythm. So then I go like that, and I'm like, okay, here's my rhythm. And then I start tuning, a pitch to, like I did this a lot, where I would set the scene to tune the note in a different note. And that stuff works well to add, and it helps me not have to play the bass line on the OP1, but it also takes time to program in a bass line while I'm performing. And that's also another reason why somebody, I can't remember who, asked why whether I was going to use the Minotaur. I've been tempted, and I think I will try it again, maybe next week sometime. But I get confused when I switch between the MIDI and the regular menu. And so most of the time I stay on this menu, and up till now it's been helpful to not have to think about that. But that being said, I do really like having patterns that I can manipulate with a bunch of knobs over there. My only issue with that, though, is it's hard for me to generate another bass line without, taking a lot of time programming it in. Especially if I'm doing an improvised set, it's not something that I can just, hey, Annabelle. It's not something that I can just like be, playing beats and turning these knobs and then all of a sudden just like program in, like a bass line and adjust the notes and then bring it back. If I had things prepared beforehand, that would be pretty cool. And I think what it comes down to is figuring out some way of programming really easy to create bass lines. The same way that I can now take this single riff that's going on here that I really love. And I can use LFOs to adjust the speed of the slice point. I think there's another way to create bass lines where you adjust the tuning of the note based on the LFO speed. So I'll experiment with that a little bit. Overall, I felt pretty great at the end. I feel like the way I felt at the beginning of the set is like very different from the way I felt at the end. I was really enjoying where things were going. Once I kind of just let go of expectations, I had started out being like, I'm going to do a peaceful set. It's going to be very open-ended and free. And then I noticed that the drums were getting really boring after a while. And then I started speeding things up. And then we kind of ended in this. It's great. So yeah, let me just scrub through some of these questions and make sure that I didn't miss any. So my fader fox at the moment, Johan, in case you do, if you're still here and if you check this out later, My fader Fox is mapped to volumes, low cut, high cut, and release. And that's kind of what I've been working on lately, although you can program multiple pages of presets on here. So I've been thinking about using ones that adjust reverb and then ones that adjust the LFO. I'm already, getting confused though about where things are. I still haven't like mapped track 1 through 6 this way, the way that I have on here. So I think it's just going to take some time for me to get used to that. I still haven't quite done it. And even now, like I'm noticing when I perform, I forget that like track 5 is right here, or I can't remember which one of these it is. I think it's just a matter of practicing until it's just like muscle memory. What else? Mixer recommendations. My friend and I kind of split on this entry-level zone, Allen and Heath, and we really love it. It's got a really nice filter on it that's very subtle, surprisingly. You really have to crank the resonance to hear it sweep, which is probably what they want anyway. And it does the trick. Honestly, the mixer serves more of a purpose for me to port things into my stream. But I also, like today, have been experimenting with using it as an actual surface for queuing and things like that. I think maybe my next week of sets will focus on exploring that further. Today I had it set up that way, but I just didn't use it very much. And yeah, so as far as recommendations, this one has a nice effects out send, which is helpful for if you're playing with having reverb as a send for either channel. But pretty much any mixer will do. I think there are a couple that don't have that. I haven't really done a lot of searching though. Just looking through here. Yeah, I just kind of got sucked into this fun ravey world at the end. But thanks again for checking out the set, and for those of you who have just discovered this video, I hope you come back. I do these every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 2 p.m. I also started a Patreon about like 2 weeks ago where I upload some of the tracks that I make, not just from the Octatrack, but also in collaboration with some of my friends, some of whom are here or were here. And yeah, I'm telling stories about like what it's like creating these tracks and what I have going on behind the scenes. So if you're interested, definitely take a look. I like to keep a lot of notes. So if you're curious about like workflow, creative blocks, things like that, definitely send me a message and I can help out with that. Or actually just leave a comment. I like to respond to comments. So hope you guys enjoyed it.